Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. As always, I'm your co-host, the Balanced Blue RJ, joined by my fellow co-host, Scott the Gooner, Rob the Red Devil. But importantly, we are joined by returning special guest, Angelica, aka Gelly, the proud citizen. I won't call her a happy citizen for obvious reasons, but Gelly, pleasure to have you back on. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be back here, guys. Excited for what's ahead here on the banters.
Get pumped.
You
It's good. It's
picked a
good.
good week, hasn't she?
She sure has. For those who don't know, the Twitter promo post was actually more entertaining, arguably, than the United clash, but it was going crazy. And Scott was trying to teach us a few lessons on grammar and punctuation, and I think he kind of backfired ever so slightly. But Scott, you're a happy gooner. Talk us through how you feeling.
Mate, yeah, I'm stoked. Look, after the absolute decimation, resounding victory over Leeds, which was never in doubt.
You fired past them, mate. You fired past them.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I'm gunning for glory. So I'm cheering at the moment. We got Jelly here. We got Robbie here. Rob's done his hair nice. It's all good vibes. I'm just glad Jelly could join us. I mean, she's been jet-setting the world for what feels like the last 6 months. And she's finally made some time for us little guys now. So welcome. It's good to have you back.
Thank you.
She remembers us mere mortals as she makes her ascension up into football superstardom. But Rob, we are certainly going to dive right into United clash. How are you feeling after that United stalemate?
Yeah, feeling amazing. Not. Look, I guess we'll get back into it. But yeah, lots of, I think, controversy definitely won that game, maybe 3 or 4-0 to the both Uniteds. But yeah, I guess there was a lot of controversy over the whole weekend, and I'd say we will cover it.
Absolutely. And we've got some great people in the chat, and I'll pass it on in a moment. But just at a very high level, if you haven't already, check out Jelly's details in the description. She is a great footballing content creator and does so many wonderful things in the broader Australian footballing community. But for tonight's agenda, key matches analysis and recap, obviously some very big results, like Rob alluded to, some slight controversy officiating-wise. Ballon d'Or winners announced, the best players for the season. Got some reflections on that. And, of course, we're going to go through the midweek matches that are soon to take place. So lots to go through. Scott, pass over the baton to you, my man.
Absolutely. Just before we kick off, we've got Emad here from Man Cave United. Make sure you check them out. All the United fans have come. We've got Tom here from the United Pubcast. George is here. Oh, come on. Don't banter Jelly already. She's only just come back.
You know what?
You take it like a champ, huh? We got Shano here. We got the concierge here saying he wants Arsenal humbled. And we've got Adam Schwerb, the other and better half of Man Cave United. Look, let's get straight into it. There was a whole range of controversy over the weekend. Let's kick off with your boys, though. Robbie, you played out a draw against Newcastle. It was an entertaining match, I thought. I actually caught this one. And I think both teams deserved something. But give us your quick analysis of that game, and then let's talk a little bit about the controversy.
Yeah, look, I was very, very up for this game, by the way. Before, a couple of hours before kickoff, I had that kind of how I felt just before the Arsenal game. I was really excited for some reason. Both teams, Newcastle's been very good so far this season. I knew they were I really did think they're going to come and give it a go at Old Trafford. We've been a bit up and down, but, I did expect us to kind of, after a good win against Everton and another win in the Europa League, I just thought these two teams are going to have a go at each other. And look, it did underwhelm me a little bit. It was quite open, the game. A lot of space for both teams, back and forth. I did think first half, you could probably say belonged to Newcastle. Obviously, the better chance. I think it was Almiron who had the hit both times, the woodwork in the amount of seconds from the crossbar back onto the post. So that was probably the best chance created in the first half. Then obviously the first controversial call was the penalty that the penalty that wasn't that was for Newcastle. My opinion, penalty. So I'll just get that off the right now. Again, didn't get the VAR. Nothing happened. Play on. Second half, I was surprised with Newcastle because 0-0 at half time. They really sat back in that second half. We really did take control of the game, most of the possession. We're not good at breaking down a low block at the moment. And at one point, it literally was park the bus versus just try and break us down. Like I was surprised. I thought they were going to try and hit us a bit more, even on the break, even when they were sitting in a low block. But look, when Marcus Rashford came in, I did think he was a positive substitute, our only substitute. Definitely a few chances created. We had the two the open net that he squared off, and Fred didn't finish. It could have been a slight offside as well. Another controversial call would have went to VAR if it was to go in. In my opinion, 2 penalties should have been to United, especially the Jadon Sancho one in this half. The one you could say 50-50 was the challenge on Ronaldo. Obviously, both didn't go. The Sancho one, stone wall for me. If that's not a penalty, that's not football. So for me, that was definitely should have been a penalty. Again, another controversial decision, but we should have finished off the last second of the game. Rashford had a golden opportunity from the cross to put the game away. Unfortunately, didn't happen. And yeah, look, I think Newcastle will be the happier the team to walk away from Old Trafford with a point.
Robbie, a couple of comments here from the chat that I wanted to put to you now that my lag has resolved itself, thank God. Do you think that Eric Ten Hag got it wrong with Fred's involvement?
I don't think there was a big choice. McTominay was out for a suspension. Fred came in. He had a shocker, really bad. But I think he's the biggest. He didn't make enough changes for me. One, we had 5 substitutes. Obviously, you can make him in 3 times. He'll bring on Rashford, and that's it. I know we did have quite a few kids on the bench, but nothing was happening. I think he also took the wrong player off. He took off Ronaldo, and he put Rashford on when I thought he should have taken off Anthony. Probably, I'm not going to say it's his worst game, but probably Anthony didn't offer a lot. I would have preferred if he took off him for Rashford. Rashford could have played on the left, or he could have played on like Sancho could have went to the right where Anthony was, and then Ronaldo could have stayed up. Again, could have, would have, should have, but I think if Ronaldo got that chance at the end, what Rashford had, I think we could have been 1-0 United and taking the 3 points. I still think the draw hurts me more because of our next 2 games. That's the thing for me. It's not as the worst result, and I said we're going to be on a roller coaster this year, but at Old Trafford against Newcastle with Chelsea and Spurs in the next 2 game weeks, that's where I think it hurts more because it puts the pressure on us more to try and get something out of the next 2 games.
Easy. I want to throw a question to Jelly and RJ in a sec, and of course then come back to you, Robbie, because I, for one, and I feel like United have been doing this for as long as I've been watching football, the surrounding of the referee. At one point, there are images out where you had, I reckon, a good 9 or 10 players surrounding the ref, getting in his face, getting in his ear.
For another bad call.
Bad call or not, there are bad calls every single week. I think that sets an awful example. And the fact that it's that many players there, send your captain. Send your captain, maybe one more with him.
If you're going to single out the whole Premier League, you got to single out every football team. It's always going to happen.
If you let me finish, I'll tell you, it's not just you, but I'm talking about the footage from this weekend, and you were the most dominant of the lot. There wasn't, if you can find me another picture from this weekend of that many players surrounding a ref, so be it. But the footage for me is not good. Jelly, I want to throw to you, what did you think about the match? Did you have any comments about the officiating or just your thoughts on them surrounding the ref?
It's interesting, and I'm going to put my referee hat on here. And, I obviously refereed for 5+ years. Anyone who's a player knows that the minute a team is hitting rock bottom, the first thing you're going to do is run to the ref and say, "Oh, ref this, ref that." But I will admit, watching that game and even listening to my sister, who's a diehard Man United supporter, it felt like both teams had missed opportunities from the referee. And so for me, that score kind of reflects the officiating in some aspect. But then I'm also on the opinion of you can't blame for everything on the referee. You just can't. I mean, that to me is the first sign of a team who's hitting rock bottom. And from an internal perspective, from a coaching perspective, that's the first sign that team harmony is not there. So
RJ, your thoughts?
Yeah, just got a couple comments. So I don't know. I'm a passionate kind of guy. I think Tom made a good comment, I think, on Twitter before about it looks worse than what it is, where they're going up there just pointing out, like, they weren't all going in a huddle and gang bashing this guy. Like, it didn't look good because they're obviously very close and they're all frustrated. And look, I was a little bit confused because I thought, was it a play on? Why did all the players stand there assuming that he was just rolling the ball back and Nick Pope's actually meant to take the free kick? Was he within the 10 yards? Was it the wrong call? Yes, probably was. But the thing that strikes me was with the Callum Wilson one, that gets given, and then we make the assumption he scores, rightly or wrongly, say if he did, the rest of the game changes totally. None of that takes place because
100%.
all of that sequence has been reset now. So you don't have that missed call. You don't have Ronaldo's penalty. You don't have Sancho's penalty. So the refs had an absolute shocker all over the joint, but it all starts with the first bad call. But to your question, Scott, the 9 players, yeah, it's not a good thing. Ten Hag's going to have to talk to these players and say, look, we're going to cop these bad calls. You're hurting the club by going out there and disrespecting our badge by all surrounding the ref. Let the captain be our voice. You back off because you look bad. But in the heat of the moment, I can't say it's not easy to not get upset. So, look, it's a tough one, but it doesn't look good.
Rob, before you respond, I'll make my last comment on the match. I thought the fact that they were getting furious as well about the incident with Pope, where they thought that ball being played, I think if you're going for those plays, that just shows you don't have faith in your ball. That for me was a little bit embarrassing as well, what happened there. But I'm sure you've got your views on it. But to go, like, I expect better from Ronaldo. You know, I'm a massive fan of Ronaldo. You know where I sit on the GOAT debate. I just thought that was a little bit embarrassing, to be fair. But Robbie,
so if they
it up.
get a goal, would you say that's not clever or smart, quick thinking?
No, I'd say it's grubby, to be honest.
Why is it grubby?
Not in the spirit
If
of the game.
the referee's played the whistle, he's made the touch. Why isn't that play on and play on? Well, it's happened before. A goal or two has happened like that before.
So
is it a football thing?
No,
yes.
Absolutely
Why
not.
isn't it a football thing? Why? You're playing to the whistle. The referee blew his whistle. He knew he made a mistake. Look, the game.
Sell, mate.
I'm not going down to that's the referee mistake. The thing. I think the penalty calls on both sides were way worse than that. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, the referee's made a decision, and it's the wrong decision. So I think he's just gone, oh, well, I've blown the whistle. He's played on. He scored the goal. But and I think this happened not long ago when it's similar last week when Villa scored that goal, how he blew the whistle before play, and then they end up in the back, and then it goes, well, I can't give it now because I blew the whistle. So, look, what's done is done. It was a draw. We go away and we go on to the very next 2 games. And look, I think Newcastle deserving. I think both they will be happy out with a point at Old Trafford. Bottom line.
So what? Just quickly on that, because I was just trying to recap it. Was there like some muffling noise? Like, was the whistle very loud and clear? Did it look like he's just trying to roll it back to Pope? Because they just were all standing there assuming that he's ready to take the free kick. Why was nobody moving if the ref blew the whistle? Like, why would nobody be moving? Like, it just seemed like an odd set of events to me.
Everyone was just sitting deep. So, like, the referee blew the whistle. He kept going deep as if he was waiting for, passed it back to him, and then looked like it was just going to be like the keeper was going to send it long, like they were playing long.
Use the word pass loosely, Rob. I would say maybe tapped it back to him. But mate, if that's what you're relying on to win matches,
it wasn't to win the match. It was just a bad ball again.
I wouldn't be too excited about Ten Hag's process if that's the game plan to score the bulk of your goals, man. Poor form.
All right,
you know
mate,
what?
all right.
I'm about to put some crap on my own team as well. We got my man Wayne from WA. Nice to see you, mate. Welcome. I'm not sure if it's like 2:00 in the afternoon there or something. Maths wasn't my strong point. But Arsenal against Leeds. Tell you what, there's being lucky, and then there's like just pure dictionary definition. Look up luck, and you will find Arsenal getting 3 points in that match against Leeds. It wasn't a pretty performance. Gabriel Magalhaes, I don't know what he was doing. I have no idea what he was doing in that match. Don't think it was a pen at the end. I actually think the right call was made. But just the way we played, it wasn't, what I expected from Arsenal and what I've seen this season. But on the flip side, that's what good teams do. They win matches that maybe they shouldn't win. And you got to take the luck, because there's going to be plenty of times when you don't get luck. So I'll take it when it's there. Bamford was in the right positions. I can see George's comment here. He was in the right positions. He actually looked dangerous, but it was just that last finish. I think he just needs a bit of confidence back, Paddy Bamford, because he can score goals in this league. We've seen that before. So it was very, very lucky for me. I think it was a little bit of that Europa hangover, because we went hard in the Bodo Glint game, because if you top the group, you're straight into the last 16. And with some of these teams that might come down, and you want to get through. So I understand it, but I don't want to see it all that much. RJ, do you see that match, or do you have any comments on the Arsenal-Leeds match?
Yeah, mate, they're unlucky. Leeds to not get something, no doubt. That second half in particular. Good finish by Saka as well, and that's what you want if you're a Gunners fan. But, yeah, missed penalty at the end. Oh, very rough decision. It was. I think it was the right call. I think Bamford does foul him. Silly boy on the ground, but kicking his leg out like that. I don't know if that's – obviously it's the rules. Whatever decision made then cancels out what happens after the fact. But it's got to be some sort of consequence for that sort of decision. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand if they give a free kick to Arsenal, but if you do foul play, I don't understand why that doesn't get punished as a result. Like, what if I do a slight nudge and you turn around and roundhouse kick me and knock me out? Like, is there absolutely no repercussion for that? Like, to me, that's a very funny sort of rule that's in place. But yeah, I felt sorry for poor Chris Kavanagh in that situation. He's dealt with a bit of a curly situation.
Though, was so small, RJ. The contact
but the intent
was
there.
Small.
The intent was there, I'm saying.
And I think it's a little bit about, and I feel a little bit like this from the United game. Sometimes, depending on the ref, if you make a meal of something, which Patrick Bamford did, went down like he'd been shot. If you make a meal of something to the point where it's comical, then that can also...
It doesn't help your cause, obviously.
No,
yeah,
absolutely. Jelly, I don't know if you saw any of that. Any comments on that, or even Arsenal this season? I know we haven't chatted to you this season, but Arsenal now for 4-point buffer at the top of the table. Happy days.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be saying happy days for much longer, in my opinion. I don't think. I think luck is just that. I'm sorry, Scott. I know you're going to come at me now, but I think
Jelly.
Arsenal fans enjoy it while it lasts. That's all I'm saying. Enjoy it while it lasts. Make the most of it, because I think that's going to be it. And look, I have a soft spot for Leeds. I really thought they had that match. I really did. As you say, when players make a meal of it, and referees go looking for that, So, you know what? Interesting match. I seriously thought Leeds were going to come away with a win there. So, yeah, luck. There must have been a leprechaun at that match supporting Arsenal, because I'm telling you, that was pure luck.
Can I ask you, though, you say that you think that luck's going to run out. It's Arsenal's best start to a season, I think, in a very long time or ever. 9 wins, 1 draw. Yeah. We've beat Spurs. We beat Liverpool. We did lose to United, but played not too shabby. And we've won at some places like Brentford, where other teams have struggled. So just give me a little bit more on that. Because I'm enjoying it while it lasts. I'm not getting ahead of myself. But what makes you think that luck's going to run out? What is it about Arsenal that you think is going to let them down?
I just don't feel the steadiness that I feel with the likes of City, or even with the likes of with Liverpool. There's no steadiness associated with Arsenal. When I watch them, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get a good day or a bad day. So, and I think that's the difference between a good and the best team. So that's why I think right now they're running on this lucky streak, and sometimes teams go through that, and then you can see it throughout EPL history. You have those good runs, and then the minute something happens, whether it be United match, the crumbles start to come down. So I personally don't think they're a steady enough team to pull through a whole season.
Oh, good look.
I think that's a bit harsh, man. Look, I never want to be backing up Arsenal, but look, I think you have to create a bit of your own luck as well. And like I said, for instance, we were talking about they haven't played. Last year, we were saying There's 2 games a week. They got Europa League and stuff. Well, we're 10 games in with Europa League twice a week as well. They are top of the table. Are 4 points now on top of City, which I never thought I would have said that. They did lose to us, but look, again, from where they were last season or even the year before, I really think this is, even if it doesn't last long, I think this is a massive stride for Arsenal. And look, if this was us, you have to take credit where it's due. I think they've made most of their own luck this season. And look, against Leeds, even if you do get lucky, so many Premier Leagues you're going to have luck at some point or need some luck to get over the line. Look, again, I'm not saying they're going to win the league, but I can't fault them at the moment.
Look, you know what I hope for Arsenal, and I really do mean this. I hope that we get to see a bit of a football love story in that sense. So maybe it is possible. Maybe this will be the first time in a long time that you see a team come through based on that positivity, as one of the comments just said there, like pulling through and just hanging on to it. That, what, I would love to see that. I would love to see.
All right, Gelly, thanks for joining us. It was great to have you back.
It's been a pleasure.
You know what? I'm a football romantic. So you know what? Yes, I'm a City supporter, but I also love a good love story. So you know what?
That's a horror story in my books, and I don't like horror stories.
You know what? I would love to see, especially in the EPL, just to keep it exciting, a team just hanging on by a thread. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say here. Whether it be Arsenal, whether it be another team, whether it be bloody Leeds United, I would like to see that. I want some competition.
Look, you saved yourself. I was about to ask you to go, and I was agreeing with you, mate. Can I get you to sub with your sister? Get her to come and take another
be careful with that. Be careful what you wish for there.
Two Greek ladies in one stream. I think that could potentially.
She's the abusive one, though. I'm the nice one.
Oh, geez. Okay, all right. We'll keep you for now. Speaking about things that were quite nice, bit of Mason Mount magic for my FPL. For RJ, it was 3 points. We love Mason Mount. Well, I do anyway, even though he's part of the enemy. RJ, you'd have to be happy with that, mate.
Well, you know what? Happy with the result, but not very happy with the performance, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I tweeted about this. I was getting quite vocal online. And, I tell you what, Stevie G, we'll talk a little bit about him in a moment. He got them up for this match. We started off reasonably well. Tyrone Mings, what are you doing with that header?
Nice assist.
But what a composed finish from Mason Mount. People say, oh, he scored. It was a sitter. It was, it was from so far out. Martinez came down, jumped, star-frogged him, and he still had the composure to volley it first time as it's falling into the far corner under that pressure. Top finish, underrated in my opinion. But the actual performance itself was alarmingly negative and underwhelming. I think Graham Potter, he's had a perfect start since coming to Chelsea in terms of not lost yet, touch wood. But that was too attacking. The team was too attacking. Kukurea and Chilwell didn't complement each other. Raheem Sterling played a right wing back at times and was not available to get himself injected into the game until the second half, where again he failed to convert his chances. And we just lacked the control in the middle. And Villa were finding a lot of space on that left-hand side where Kukurea and Chilwell were. And had it not been for the now resurgent and informed Kepa, 2 world-class saves, that header, and the one where he hit from the follow-up from his first save, so the second of his double save, absolutely unbelievable. And your question last week, Rob, about the keeper, which I said my answer was they're both handy.
Keeper's a keeper.
Well, he's a keeper. He's a keeper for now, and you can't drop him at the moment because he's in that good form. And Mendy, thankfully, he's helped himself by being injured and slowly coming back into the fold. But Mason Mount, what a great free kick. Martinez, yes, he leans to the right, but the great dipping technique and power, very brilliant finish. But overall, we showed plenty of grit, determination to hold on to it. Graham Potter made some tweaks in that second half, made a few positive substitutions. But overall, just happy to get away with that one because Villa, they were up for it. And on another day, and if Kepa was not in his red-hot form, we walk away with a draw at best. So not overstating this, but it was just great to get those 3 points and continue to move forward.
Robbie, is Stevie G gone?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No,
Why do you keep him if you're Aston Villa?
Oh, mate, I would sack him, but I don't know. I think he should have been gone by now if he was going to get sacked, similar to Brendan Rodgers. How we've said from the start of the season why and how is he doing the job, but he's worse off than them at the moment. I don't know. I still think there's a couple more games. If he was to go on another 2 or 3 games and they were still up for that game, like RJ said. It's not like they were just like playing terrible football. Like they did create their chance, and if it wasn't for Kepa, they could have got definitely something from that game. So if they go into the next 1 or 2 weeks and get done, fair enough. But if they go in and they're having a go and they look like they're still playing for him, I don't see why they're going to sack him yet.
Gelly, if Villa lose to Fulham, is Stevie G gone?
You know what? I have a really strong opinion on this topic, and I hope you're ready for this, because I love this game, obviously, but I really can't stand how many coaches we go through and managers that this league is going through. It feels like we're going through more coaches than we are toilet paper. You know what I mean? Like, I fundamentally do not like the lack of loyalty that is put on these managers. They put in these positions. You can't create a winning team overnight, and you're not going to create it in one season. I don't care what anybody says. You need time with players. You need time, and you need to build. And I really hate this culture that we've somehow created in the last 5 years in football of like just churning through the managers if it doesn't work. That's not how coaching works. That's literally the opposite of how it works. And I think we underestimate the term building season and building years. And I really just fundamentally hate even talk about getting rid of a coach so soon, because to me it's too soon. As a coach, too soon. So
I completely agree with everything you said, but it's money talks these days. And if anyone's thinking we're not going to get the Premier League money at the end of the season, or we're looking like we're going down with the players on the wage bill that they've got, that's why people hit the panic button so frequently now. And I completely agree with you. There's no such thing. Obviously, take something like an Arsenal. They're the ones that are actually at the moment 3-4 years with Arteta, which they're starting to reap rewards now. You see it quite often now. Like sometimes we've seen before, especially like your teams like Watford go through 3-4 managers in a season. So yeah, look, I think I agree with everything you said.
I don't know, boys and girls. Because
well, you're a Chelsea fan, RJ.
No, it's not even just for that. We like the chaos and trophies era. So look, we'd dispute that. But let's put a professional business hat on for a moment. It's performance review time. We've given you the resources. You've failed to meet your KPIs and you're delivering less than what you had last time with better. Where is the accountability element here? Knowing that it's a results-driven business with your shareholders being your fans, essentially, sponsors to please. If you're not delivering, what's your tolerance for accepting substandard performance? Like, I understand what you're saying. I fully get it. But on the other side of the coin, if you're running a professional global sporting organization, surely there's got to be some pressure and incentive for your manager. And it's not always the manager's fault. And I think we can all accept that. But what's more practical? We fire one manager, we sack 25 players. It's just how the brutal sport of professional world works. But yeah, I'm with you. I feel you, but it's just I feel at the same time, if I'm a board member, it's the lesser of two evils. But you're right. It's how long's a piece of string with this stuff? I feel sorry for Stevie G, even though I'm a massive Frank Lampard fan. But ultimately, I feel sorry more for other coaches who have got a lot less to work with and get a lot longer, actually, who get no chance at all. So I think there's got to be a balancing act here.
I think it's interesting, and it does all come down to that money. On the human side of things, yes, you don't want to see people lose their livelihood, and it's humiliating for a manager to be sacked. Yeah, and I think when guys like Wenger and Fergie moved on, that was kind of the end of that era. You don't get that. You're never going to get another manager who stays at a club as long as Arsene Wenger or Sir Alex Ferguson. But on the flip side, money talks. You get relegated from this league, that's hundreds of millions of pounds. And
I'm going to jump on that, Scott, though.
Yeah,
I'm going to jump on that.
Go for gold.
Because immediately everyone's like, money talks, but money also talks for players too. If it's not working, why is it immediately the coach? You see my problem with this? It has to be the players. It can't just be the coach manager. And I saw one of the comments was like, coaching management different. It sort of is, but it's not. but I just want to see more emphasis on the players and more kind of fire on the players as opposed to the managers.
Well, look at Manchester United, right, who have underperformed over the last few years. Now, I know we've got a lot of knowledgeable Manchester United fans in the chat now. I watch a lot of their content on their platforms. Over the years, you've always had this argument that it's these players. It doesn't matter if it's Ollie or whoever. These players aren't good enough. But as RJ said, to go and get rid of all these players, you can't do it. Like, it's too hard. And you do often see that new manager bounce. A new manager comes in, results start to turn, and then it's happy days again. So it is about finding a balance, but I certainly don't like the idea of gaffers just getting sacked willy-nilly. I think they do need time. I've seen 3 years, minimum of 3 seasons in the chat.
It can't be that binary. You just can't do that. Because what happens, Scott? What happens? I love stability, ironically, says Chelsea fan. But the reality is, Graham Potter signed for 5 seasons. Do I think you'll see 5 seasons? Obviously, it's very difficult. But the problem is, if you start going that far ahead, it can inherently create a culture of complacency because you're not under that intense pressure of that sporting environment. It's a team effort, of course, and not just a team. It's the club, the physios, everyone in the back staff. So it's not just the manager to get singled out. But the real thing that needs to happen is expectations need to be aligned from the beginning. So Gerrard, if there is talk of getting rid of him, it's because the expectation when they signed him is, we expect you to be here. If you're anywhere below this point, you're going to be under intense scrutiny. So for full transparency and disclosure, we don't want you to be surprised if you're in the firing line because we signed you to be up here. And unless there's some mitigating circumstances, like you lose half your squad, then anything above that is in an unacceptable range. So 3 years, you just can't put a blanket thing, because what happens if you aim for 5th and year 1, you're 12th, year 2, you're 11th, and year 3, you're 10th?
Well,
You've used 3 years, slight improvement, but you fell short of your target. So you can't just make those blanket statements. That's why I have a problem with that.
Let's
I think
Jelly, close it up. You can you close this comment up.
I think, you see what you said there, RJ, that was brilliant. That's perfect. That's what they need to hear. But I don't think enough of that is said to the players themselves. I think there needs to be more emphasis on the players' KPIs. If you can't deliver this, and that's what I'm trying to say, there needs to be more fire on the players. Even if you can't necessarily get rid of them, they need to be under the pressure just as much as the manager is, because at the end of the day, you're all one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree.
Shout. Right, look, I want to keep that theme of pressure going, because your team, Jelly, for me, my favourite result of the weekend, not so good for you. I mean, I expected more from Manchester City in this game with Liverpool's form, but that has become a little bit of a friendly rivalry, but certainly a rivalry in terms of quality. And Liverpool came into this with intent and intensity, and you could feel that from the stands, the players, the managers. It was an intense match. Give us your thoughts on that and how it played out.
Well, I think I pretty much said this last time I was on here, guys, but when you're at the top, there's only one way you can go, right? So it's the bottom. And you know what? As I was saying to you guys off camera, I wasn't surprised. There's a little voice inside of me that thought, you know what, this is going to be a heated one, especially from that last final. Liverpool would have been pumped up. I know if I was in that squad, I'd be out to crush, kill, destroy. So there was that little voice inside of me going, you know what, this might not be a good day in the office. But Liverpool, I got to give credit to them. I'm going to take off my City hat for a second. City don't make mistakes. I think we can all agree with that. It is a very rare when they make mistakes. Defensively, they've got it down pat. Yeah. I have to give it to Liverpool for sniffing out one of those mistakes. The only opportunity that I believe that was in the game to score, they sniffed it out and they used it. So taking off that City hat, I got to give credit to Liverpool because they did what they needed to do and they found the perfect opportunity to do it. So as far as I'm concerned, let the competition begin.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
look, it's the
Robbie?
only way, like you said, that City normally do lose. Like I said, we've done it with them, obviously not this season, is done on the break. And like I said, obviously the assist from Allison to straight to, like I said, Cancelo made the mistake. And that nearly happened twice. Mo Salah went in on goal and obviously put one wide, but that was their best chances. Look, they did play decent, and I did again, like Scotty said, I expected City to really put them to the sword. Man, I was expecting from a bit of a buffer, especially with some of the injuries and key players that have been out of form and not there. Obviously, Robertson not there, Trent Alexander, which was probably a bonus for Liverpool. But yeah, look, and I think he just kind of especially with Nunes, I think he's really taken a different concept out of Salah's game this year. So he obviously played around with a bit of the formation there, and yeah, look, I think that's a massive result for them because if anything, I thought it would be a draw. And I know Anfield's not the hardest place, one of the hardest places to go, but the way City and Haaland's form has been, and the way Liverpool has been, I really did think this was only going to go one way. So very surprised at the result.
RJ, what do you think of this comment here from George? Don't get carried away by the results. City drop points more regularly to the big six than we think, but they very rarely drop points to anyone else. George still thinks the disrespect. He still thinks City are going to run away with this league.
He's got a
RJ, are you
point.
in? Look, 4 points. I'm enjoying that buffer. But RJ, are they going to run away with it or what?
I still think it's a long season, guys. You know, it's round 10. There's 38 games. We're not even a third in the season yet. This is going to be the craziest roller coaster. It's good that Arsenal are keeping everybody honest at the moment, but so is Spurs, which we haven't touched on yet. We're doing some things. United had a draw the other day, but are still in the conversation. So, yeah, it's way early. City is still a super class team. Kevin De Bruyne puts a perfect pass in. Haaland gets perfect contact, but it's just anywhere left or right. It's a goal, different game. They win 3-4-0. You know, Cancelo slips over. That goal that gets disallowed, yes, all right, it's a foul. But how many of those pulling fouls happened that didn't get
And how far
back
do you go? Like 10 seconds later.
How far back do you go? It's not Chelsea-Tottenham where you go back 15 minutes for a foul. But, sorry. But, you know, in all seriousness, City, it's not like they were completely overwhelmed and Liverpool battered them. They scored from a mistake. Let's tell it how it is. Credit to them. But City are fine, mate. Like, yeah, if I'm a City fan, I'm definitely not panicking, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I did enjoy seeing the scenes on the touchline between Klopp and Pep. You actually could, if someone said to me, you can watch the match, but you're only allowed to watch Klopp and Pep for the match, not the
good. So good.
I would have watched. It's entertaining as much as Klopp can rile you up, and Pep a little bit too. Just the passion. You can't question that passion, and something you can't question, just that quality from Mo Salah. It is still in there. He's still got it. He hasn't become a bang average player overnight. It's there. He just needs to start doing that regularly, and FPL might get a little bit trickier with people needing to bring him back in. But the quality of his touch and turn, and then the composed finish against an excellent goalkeeper.
Great save he made as well to tip Thingy's shot around the post. He could have scored before that as well.
Yeah, big ups to Salah. It was tops to see. And of course, as an Arsenal fan, I loved that little blanket. Jelly, did you have any closing thoughts on that match?
Look, you know what? I'm not going to say it again. I'm never going to say it again. But I have to give credit to Liverpool. I have to give credit to Salah. That was classy finish, classy just football in general. I mean, from an analytic point of view, you know, he took that opportunity. You know, that's every manager's dream is that player that can sniff it out and get into the back of the net. You know, I got to give credit where credit's due, and I'm never going to say it again. So that's the end of that.
All right. Well, you heard it straight from her. Spurs recorded some big points, just quietly doing their business in the background. Tottenham Hotspur. A good win. Harry Kane doing what he does, diving, cheating, getting protected because he's England's golden boy. I thought that penalty call was a shocker. I actually think that was...
Wow. How bad was that? Gosh.
The contact. Now, if Sancho and Bamford are getting called out for making a meal of things and they're getting punished for it, how is that not being applied to Harry Kane? Because he made a meal of if there was contact, it was the slightest contact of all time from Pickford. Harry Kane, for me, this is why he'll never be considered in the same breath as some of the legends of the past. But good points to Spurs. RJ, I know you wanted to chat about them quickly. Give us your thoughts. I didn't watch the game.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, they generally controlled things, as you'd expect the team superior on paper than the opposition. But the reality is Everton bombed some very crystal clear chances. Damari Gray, Anana, there were some very clear chances to score at least 2 goals. And then Pickford, who's been in good form, makes an absolute howler and gives away a penalty. The second goal was a good one, but again, a deflection. It's just one of those situations where Spurs, again, doing the business, riding their luck, but quietly going about their business and now are sitting pretty in the top 3, top 4. So, yeah, poor Frank. He'll be a bounce back, but Tottenham, another unconvincing display, but good result.
Gelly, I know you said you thought Arsenal were going to fade into oblivion. What do you make of our North London rivals? Of those two teams, as a City fan, who worries you more?
Look,
I'm talking in
by
terms
Arsenal,
of title, not one-on-one, because they always beat you.
No. Judging by Arsenal's current performance, they are looking more of the dark horse, in my opinion. I don't like to say it because I also like watching Everton to play as well, but you got to look at the numbers right now. But then again, like I said, I don't know about Arsenal because I don't think they're steady enough. So right now, I think if they were to play, absolutely Arsenal, I think would bag it. But then again, I think later in the season will be a different story, this conversation. You're asking me difficult questions.
The World Cup factor as well.
This is what happens on It's a Football Thing. So we'll have to wait and see. Robbie, I don't know if you wanted to quickly say anything on Spurs. Anything from you, champ?
No, I think it's much of the same for the Spurs this year. Like RJ wrapped it up perfectly. Not the greatest performance, but the result's the main thing that they got over the line. And like I said, top 3, they continuously, I'd hate to say when they actually do kick it into gear and actually maybe play some good football, they can be up there with the top part of the season.
Maybe this is them in gear though. Like we're all assuming there's more to come. Maybe this is just what they're going to do, like this kind of ugly-ish football where they're not going to go all guns blazing attack. And they're just going to rely on Harry Kane and Son to score some goals from him.
If he gets into something like what he done at Chelsea that time, because there was a lot of that kind of, grind out a result, 1-0, 2-0. But then there was times that
we were exciting under Conte.
Yeah, that's what I said. There was times when, especially in that 3-5-2 system, where they did turn them on and like their wing backs were really getting involved, scoring goals. Back then, Victor Moses and Alonso were some of their best players. So if he can get the same out of your Perisic's and people like that out of the world, and like I said, I know they've got a couple injuries and doubts this week, but we've all seen that link up between Harry Kane and Hong Song. When they're turning it on, mate, they can score any time of the game.
All right, look, this doesn't so much apply to Gelly, who still has youth on her side, but for us boys, we're all a little bit older. RJ, you and me both.
Speak for yourself, mate. What are you talking about?
Both 34 this year, but do you know what? Age is just a number, because we have seen today Karim Benzema, Ballon d'Or winner at 34 years of age. He's out there proving to us older guys we can still do big things. Maybe you'll be the first Ballon d'Or winner at 35, RJ. But I don't think after Salah's start to this season, there was anyone else who could take this award home. What did you think of it, RJ? Happy with the decision?
Happy. Yeah, well, obviously disappointed Messi not being in the group, and Ronaldo finished 20th. Credit to him for being in there. But Lewandowski, I thought, had a very, very strong season as well. I thought he could have been in the mix, of course, but with the Champions League campaign he had, and obviously the role he played for Real Madrid in domestic league, it just felt right that he won the award, man. He was the ultimate big game player, and I'm happy that he won it. So good on him.
Yeah. Gelly, any comments on Benzema?
I think it's just refreshing, right? I think it's nice to see a different face up there, and you know what? He's a classy player. Well deserved.
Yep. Excellent, Robbie.
Yeah, no, look, you mirror what everyone says. After last year's campaign, he was the clutch man, got him over the line, and I'm pretty sure all three of us were forever in his doubt that Liverpool didn't get anywhere near the Champions League final either.
There you go. And looking from me, I just hope he carries this form into the World Cup, except when he's playing against the mighty Socceroos, of course. But a big congratulations to Benzema, very deserving. I couldn't be happier for him. Was it? I think it was Gavi that won the young players one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And Sam Kerr missed out.
Top three, third, mate.
Third. I know Beth Mead was.
Yeah, Alexia Putellas from Barcelona.
Yeah.
Barcelona have got to win something. The most levers award, that award, it's good.
There you go. I do feel bad for Sammy Kerr. I mean, but on the flip side, she did get the cover of FIFA, so that's pretty big as well. Football lovers understand. Guys, any comments on any of those? Gavi, Sammy Kerr, or are you happy to move to predictions?
Predictions.
Done. Let's quick fire these babies. We've talked for a fair while on some other things, but we have some midweek action. We are going to get through these like lightning. Brighton, Hove Albion hosting Nottingham Forest. How much are Brighton winning by? Unless you've got something different in mind. Jelly?
I'm going to go 1-0.
1-0 to Brighton. Okay, I'm going 2-0. 2-0 Brighton for me. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, Brighton. Just quickly, we have out the shithousery from Wolves on Twitter the other day.
Oh, how good
was
that?
We'll
talk about that later.
You know, I love that little bit of that banter before the game, and then they just kind of finished them off. So it's a bit of fuel for the fire. So yeah, I'll go 2-1 Brighton.
I didn't see it. What did they do?
Before the game, like Forest came out with a tweet like playing with some Wolves, and they're like playtime, and then like obviously Forest, obviously Wolves won the game. And then at the end, it was like playtime's over, and they had like an axe into a tree or something. It's just a bit of banter between the clubs.
Oh, there we go. RJ, what about you?
Yeah, I think the Seagulls will be soaring. I'll lock in 2-0 as well.
All right, Palace hosting Wolves. We might start with you, RJ, and work our way down.
Could be an interesting game, but I think Palace at home, Eagles to soar as well. Playtime this time will be over against the Wolves. So let's lock in. We'll go 2-1 to the Eagles.
Robbie?
2-0 Eagles.
For me, I'm going to go 2-1 to Crystal Palace. And Jelly?
I'm going to go 2-0 to Crystal Palace.
There you go. All right. Bournemouth hosting Southampton. I think this will be an interesting match. I'm going to lock in a 1-1 draw here. What about you, Jelly?
You know what? I was thinking the same thing, but I'm going to go 2-2 draw.
2-2, more goals. We like those. What about you, Rob?
2-1 Bournemouth.
RJ?
Yeah, I'm conflicted, ladies and gentlemen, but I will stick with my original thing of 1-1.
Okay. Obviously, Arsenal City is not happening. We're giving City a bit of time to recover before
their what's the reason for that quickly, if you know? I don't understand. Why are they not playing this game?
No idea.
Some money under the table, probably.
Yeah. Extra rest.
If it was Chelsea, they would have brought it forward.
Let's start the next one with you, RJ. Brentford hosting your boys.
Oh, tough one. This time, actually, very fun fact, Kepa's awesome display the other day coincided a year after Mendy's heroics against Brentford as well. You might recall when he made those amazing saves.
Nope.
But it was the one where he won us all 3 points. I'm hoping it's not as dramatic again. Brentford not playing well at the moment. Got a good win. Tony in form. Oh, Reece James is out for a little while. I'm a little bit nervous. Tough. Someone's got to give eventually. But I will quietly back us to continue the good times rolling. I'll go 2-1 to the Blues.
Robbie?
2-0 Blues.
I'm 2-1 to the Blues. And what about you, Jelly?
I want to be different, but I'm going to go 2-0 to Chelsea.
Here you go. Borche knows. Arsenal playing in the Europa. I should have known that. We are playing against PSV. Whoops. We'll move on. Liverpool hosting West Ham at Anfield. Will the resurgence continue, Robbie?
I believe it will. unfortunately. I'll go 3-1 to Liverpool.
Jelly?
Nah, I'm going 2-1 to West Ham.
Oh, wow.
Salty.
Wow, at Anfield.
Bitter.
Oh, wow. I love it. I love it.
The salt is real, guys.
RJ?
Love it. Oh, wow. What a result. That would be a Declan double, maybe. But nah, I'm with Rob. I think it's going to be 3-1 to Liverpool. I'm a bit concerned now. They found their groove.
The IFT boys are in sync. I'm going 3-1 as well. Newcastle hosting Everton. I think low-key this is going to be a cracking match. I can't wait. I'm going to watch this one. This is my pick of the bunch. But I do think Newcastle will have too much for Everton. I'm going to go with Newcastle to take this one 2-0. What do you think, Robbie?
3-0 Newcastle.
Wow, I like it, Rob. I like it. What about you, Jelly?
Nah, I've got 1-1 draw.
Okay. Look, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities.
Ooh.
No, definitely not.
Roscoe.
Yeah, I could see this one being a draw. Everton's been quite good defensively. I know they lost 2-0 the other day, but they're pretty good. And on the break, Newcastle will be vulnerable. I could see this being a 1-1 draw myself, so I'll lock that one in.
Okay. And the last one, Manchester United hosting Spurs, the legendary Ian Keaton in the chat as well.
Yeah,
Nice to
Keaton,
see you
what
in
a
here,
legend.
man. Welcome. Make sure you check his channel out. Always pumping great content. Robbie, let's hand to you. It's your boys against my enemies. What's happening?
I don't know, mate. I'm not convinced, to be honest. If I'm going to be, I'm still waiting for some news. The conference, the press conferences, I think maybe in the next 1 or 2 hours. Hopefully, get a little bit of team news. Anthony Martial and especially Ericsson, massive miss for us the other day. Really missed him. So it was an illness. I'm hoping he will be fit to play this again. I don't know. Yeah. I know they've got a few doubts with Kulusevski and Richarlison, but I just have a bad feeling about this game. I just feel he's going to set up 3-5-2, play that ugly football. You know, I could see them hitting us on the break, so I wouldn't rule out them even getting a point. They don't have the best record at Old Trafford, but yeah, I'm going to actually go for a 0 draw. I'm pretty confident in our defense. I think our defense is not. We're having trouble scoring goals, and it's been like that for the past 4 games. Even in Europa League against teams way below us, we haven't been able to break down that low block. And Conte would love a point at Old Trafford, so I'm going to go 0.
I'm thinking similarly to you, but I think there'll at least be a goal, a token Harry Kane dive penalty, and something from CR7. I'm going a 1-1 draw in this one. What about you, RJ?
2-1 to Spurs, begrudgingly.
Oh, come on. Jelly?
I'm going to throw a spanner in there. I'm going to go 1-0 to United.
I think I'd take that. I'd take that. Look, before we move to some quick fires, because the rest of the matches we'll talk about Thursday evening, 8:30 p.m., just wanted to give you a really quick update on the FPL competition. We haven't looked at this in a while.
Mate, I'm smashing it. I'm glad you're doing this.
Yeah. Look, we do have to come back to it. We've got Jack Moore sitting in first position at the moment with a 9-point buffer. We've got Maverick in second, Anthony Gambrell in third, Robbie repping the boys in fourth place.
Well done, Rob.
Yeah, well done, Rob. Keep us up there. Then we've got some familiar faces in there. We've got Lottie, Davide, Ema, Tom. It's very United heavy. Very United heavy. I'm next out of us boys, slowly creeping up on Borchen, the football capital. And RJ is not far behind. So an interesting comp at the moment. Interesting comp. And this week's fixtures are going to throw a spanner in the works because lots of teams do have City and Arsenal players. So, Robbie, what's your secret being champion?
No, I told you, always go with my head, mate. Always gut instinct. This week, begrudgingly, I've obviously taken out De Bruyne and bringing Mo Salah. Obviously, he's in a little bit of form. Couple good fixtures, but I think everyone's going to be jumping straight back on the City and Arsenal bandwagon next week. I think I've had nearly 3 of each. But a couple of good smokies. I had Madison for the last couple of games besides last week. Got me some good points. Tony, again, is last week got And on those quiet weeks, just a couple smokies got me over the line and some big points. So
his secret, Scott, is he doesn't work. He secretly goes and plays FPL. That's his job. He's too good.
I'm a big fan of all the podcast, official FPL podcasts. I like hearing all the.
Good.
Yeah, like there's a few people out there, and I'm beating some of them. So if you're beating some of the pros, then you're doing good.
Mate, there's a long way to go. Let's not get ahead of ourselves for now.
Look who's talking, Arsenal fan.
Maybe
guys, keep it professional. Hey, we've got Jelly here. She's not going to.
I may have caused that.
I don't think Jelly's ever coming back. This is the second and last time for her. But you know what? Maybe some quick fires will warm her heart a little bit, and she'll find it in there to come back and join us again, grace us with her presence. I know you boys have yours ready. RJ, do you want to go first while I load up Robbie's?
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you, and this is in relation to our local team, MacArthur Bulls, recording a good win the other day. Congratulations to mighty MacArthur Bulls. Should players get a yellow card if they take their shirt off to promote a social message? So this is in reference to Daniel Arzani, very big deal about the human rights issues over in Iran, of course. But thoughts on that? Should players get a yellow card for taking their shirt off to promote a social message / cause?
Jelly?
Yeah, ladies first, go on.
I actually found out the reason why shirts coming off is a yellow card. And it's just simply got to do with sponsorship. So in the moment when you take it off, that's the sponsor's time to shine. So taking it off that's why they give a yellow card. I had no idea. That was the biggest mind-blowing moment for me. And now it kind of makes sense. So I sort of get it. So but then when we're talking social messages, like, I don't know, to be honest, like like I said, I'm a football romantic. I love the drama. I love the juice. So I'm anti it, but I also get the sponsorship side. So I'm on the fence.
From Robbie, I know you're ready.
I hate that they book people for celebrating or taking their shirts off. For me, it's not a football thing. Take your shirt off, celebrate, do whatever you want. I think it was someone else, like, I can't remember, one of the other players the other day just done a celebration and got booked for it. I just don't understand it. Unless it's
what about if they're not good looking, Rob? Does that change your mind?
Us.
No, nothing, mate. But unless it's something that's like, racist or something like that, or G'ing up the crowd full on, like, even me, I'm all for, like, we seen the FA Cup final, like how they went up and, like, cupped the ears in front of. I'm all for that kind of thing. I love the G up, so I don't like when players get booked for celebrating or taking their shirts off.
Look, for me, whilst I like the intent from Daniel Arzani, I was at the game and everyone was kind of shocked about why he was booked, but something that it's a global game. Football's a global game. And something that's politically righteous and tolerated in one place may not be in another and may cause great offense. Like, the problem with these kind of statements is it brings politics into football, which I'm not a fan of. I think we've got politicians for politics and we've got politics in many parts of our lives. I kind of just like turning on the football and watching the football and escaping from some of the crap. So, yeah, I just think it's a fine line. And then how do you say what causes are okay and what causes aren't? So, yeah, it's tricky.
So
it's tricky.
Take the politics out. Yes or no? Shirts off should be booked. Yes or no?
I'm still book it. I just don't like the time wasting and all of that. I think when you concede, you want to get back to playing straight away. You don't want to watch some bloke running halfway up the pitch doing an Adebayor. So, yeah, no. Book him. What about Robbie? I've got yours loaded up. I'll chuck yours up on the screen and we can have a chat about this. We'll start with you, RJ, this time. If you ever got a chance to remove a club from football, which club would that be? I'm a little bit happy but also offended that Arsenal aren't on this because we're a bigger club than some of them.
I didn't even notice, to be honest. Yeah, that's right, to be fair. I would say I would be happy to, not happy, but if I had to pick from this list, I'd go Atletico Madrid.
Wow, that's my one. That's my one. Atletico as well.
From why? Why is that?
Because I don't want to get rid of my main rivals, like obviously Liverpool, United, Spurs. We hate. Obviously, Barca, Real Madrid are big La Liga power players, and the players that they've produced. I know Atletico have produced it, But considering the rest of it, if it's not them, I would say then PSG after that. But yeah, Atletico for me.
Yeah, I'm the same with RJ. Number one, I don't like Spanish teams, but out of the three of them, the least history. They've produced a few good players, but they just bore me. I don't like Simeone either, so here's another one.
Wow. Jelly, what about you?
Well, to be fair, I just noticed Spurs were up in the corner there, so I think that just says my answer right there, right?
But they're fun to laugh at, Jelly.
I
You've
know,
got to have
but
you've
like,
got to have a villain.
She just wants them so
totally
Spurs don't beat them again. That's it.
Listen, quiet.
That's a few more points I'll get every week. There's a couple of answers here in the chat. George isn't going to like my answer because it's not City or PSG. We've got a few more here. For me, it's Barcelona. I hate Barcelona. Obviously, Arsenal have Barcelona history. The Champions League final, the way that they've just signed players this year despite their finances, and their big push behind the Super League. I think Barcelona are just a disgusting football club, one I have no time for. So, Barca for me.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, no,
Barcelona, Barcelona, they're okay. Give them a break.
Nah, that's them gone. Look, for me, just one simple quick fire. Obviously, this is a football thing. It's a football podcast. But if you were told tomorrow you can't do any more football podcasting or content, what's something else you'd like to create content on or be involved with, maybe podcasting-wise?
Formula One, easy.
Scott's favourite, of course, Jelly. As you know, Scott's a avid Formula One fan here.
Scotty would love if we'd done a food podcast.
No, I don't mind my food.
That was going to be mine. You know what? Mine would be really niche though. Cooking with olive oil. I feel like that's
nice.
All for it.
There you go. What about you, RJ?
Yeah, good one. I reckon, and I've pondered it, doing it like show movie related because that's my game. Apart from football, rugby league, of course. But yeah, I'd love to do like movies or shows.
Okay. Well, look, for me, I don't know if you got a sniff of it when I was answering RJ's quickfire, but it would be a political thing. Well, I'm very interested in politics, American politics. And,
you don't like politics in football?
I don't like it in football, but I like it in the other areas. I certainly like political systems.
Call out his hypocrisy, Jelly. I like it. Good.
It's not. I like my football because it's football. I like my politics because it's politics. I don't like them together. Sometimes mixing two things you like doesn't always work. For example, Coke and orange juice. They wouldn't go very well together, would they?
Have you tried it?
Right? No, I haven't. I might after this. All right, guys and lady, it has been an hour and 3 minutes. We have covered City and Liverpool, Arsenal smashing Leeds, United's controversial bullying of referees, Chelsea, not too bad. We've covered a whole bunch. We predicted matches, talked about the Ballon d'Or. We've covered a lot of content. We will be back on Thursday evening, same time, same place. Jelly, of course, from us lads, a massive thank you. We know that the podcast, people in the chat loved seeing you here. Hopefully we can get you back another time. You're going to come back and we lock it in?
I'll be back. I'm like a bad smell that never leaves,
No.
Scott likes to lock things in, FYI, for you, Jelly. So.
Look, if you're a bad smell, then what does that make RJ and Rob? But look, on that note, make sure you check out Jelly's Instagram. It's in the links below. She's been on plenty of Greek adventures recently, so go check it out. Cooking with Olive Oil, Season 1, coming in a couple of months. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your football and look after yourselves.
Ciao.